Okay, so the next transformation we're going to do is a dilation. And a dilation is an enlargement or reduction of a figure with respect to a fixed point. And that point's called the center of dilation. A dilation is an example of non-rigid motion in that it does not preserve congruency. So all of the other transformations, the translations, rotations, and reflections, all preserve congruency. This one does not because it changes the size of the shape. Because it changes the size, it produces similar figures instead of congruent figures, which means all of the angles are congruent, but corresponding sides are proportional. Each dilation will have a scale factor, and that scale factor indicates how much the figure will enlarge or reduce, and the variable for a scale factor is k. So in this situation, if k is greater than 1, then the dilation is an enlargement, which means it gets bigger. When k is less than 1, the dilation is a reduction, so it gets smaller. So today we're focusing on a dilation where the origin is the center of dilation. And when that happens, we can follow this rule. So if we have xy as the pre-image, okay, then the image after the dilation is performed is that you take the scale factor k and you follow this rule. So you have the original point, xy, and it becomes k times x and k times y. All right, so just for the sake of time length of the videos, I've already graphed the original shapes as well as highlighted the axes because they are a little difficult to see. So in this one we have triangle RST, which is here, and we want to dilate it with a scale factor of k equals 2. So to get r prime, we're going to take the coordinates of r and multiply them by 2, which becomes negative 10 and 2. And then we're going to do the same thing for s prime. So negative 3 and 4 times 2. So we have negative 6 and 8. And then for t prime, we're going to have 2 and negative 1 times 2. So we have 4 and negative 2. And then you just graph those points. Actually, I'm going to use a different color so we can see them. So this is r prime, then s prime. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So there's s prime, and then we have, and I realized I have graphed this point wrong. So we're actually going to be using negative 2, negative 1, which means this is negative 4, negative 2. So there's t prime. So this dilation, we started with this shape here, and the dilation made it larger, but the dilation also changes the distance from the origin. So this, from the origin to t, and from the origin to t prime is twice the length. So for number 2, we have our original rectangle, ABCD, and then it has a scale factor of 3. So to get a prime, I'm going to take negative 3, 0, and multiply by 3. So that we have negative 9, 0. And we're going to do the same for all of the points. We have 3, 6. C prime is 6, 0. And d prime is negative 6, negative 6. And then we can just graph those points, and we'll have dilated our rectangle. So here we have a prime. B prime is 1, 2, 3. And there's B prime. 2, C prime. And D prime. And there we have our dilated rectangle. Now here on the back, for 1 and 2 we had enlargements. For this one, K, we have 1/2, which means we're going to start with our triangle, and it's going to become smaller than our original. So for J prime, we're going to take -10 and 2 and multiply them by 1/2. So that we get -5 and 1. And then K prime, we get -1 and 4. L prime is 3 and 1. And M prime is -1, -2. And apparently I missed a point, so we're just going to go with J, K, and L. Or just finish drawing our rhombus instead of a triangle. There we go. Now that we have the right shape, so J is -5, 1. So this is J prime. So then -1 and 4. Alright, there's K prime. And L prime. And M prime. So now we have a rhombus that is half of the size of the pink one. Alright, so now let's go to triangle WXY, where it has a scale factor of 1/4. Alright, so we have W prime, so we're going to multiply both -4 and 8 by 1/4, which means W prime is -1 and 2. Then we have X prime. So this time we have 10, 0 times 1/4. Right, so obviously 0 times 1/4 is still 0. But 10 times 1/4 is 5/2, which is 2.5. So we have 2 and 1/2, comma 0. And then Y prime, we have -2 and -8. So we have -1/2